Um, so let me start with defining those two terms. Business. Can you hear me clearly, sir?
Yes, I am. I can hear you.
Okay, let me start with defining those two terms clearly. Um, so the word business business planning speaks of um, the set of instructions that you have to follow before executing a business. Just like you're planning to build a house, what are those things that you need to do? What are those steps you need to take to ensure that this house will be successful? The building a house, because of building a house here in Nigeria, you can build a flat in 6 years. So maybe today you have money for block, next tomorrow there's money for sand, another day there's money for wood. You can be building like that. But business is not necessarily like that. And also it's also like that too in a way. But what's important is before you take the bold step to say, I want to start a business, don't forget that I said the other time in the first session that business is just on side also. So you can be hustling on the side to say, make I just quickly make some small money. And that one is not business. But the moment you decide to say, I want to formalize my engagement, I want to make it a proper business, then you have to plan towards it. You have to ask yourself some questions before you go into it. And so planning essentially speaks of what are those things that you will need in terms of capital, in terms of human resources, in terms of mental resources that you will need, and what is also the future of the business. Then it also looks at the customer of the kind of customers you're trying to reach, the kind of market you're trying to reach, the kind of income and profit that is likely to come to you. So let me start with um, the kind of customers. Every business has its own set of customers, but not every customer can make the business profitable. So, for example, there are so let me use Chicken Republic for example. They sell food and they decided to say that we want to make our food sell it to a particular group of people. So they decided to have a restaurant where you can a walk-in restaurant and things like that. The same food they are selling, the same quantity, the same quality, you can as well get it elsewhere for less. But the reason why they are selling theirs at that price is that if they sell it lesser, they are not going to be profitable with what they are doing. So you have to ask yourself those questions. What are the kind of customers I want to reach? And you don't have to be emotional about it. For example, some of us want to do business and your friends are your reference point. I want to start selling shoes. Let me look at my people around me. How much can they afford? 2,000 naira. If the kind of shoes you have in mind to sell is not within the financial capacity of your friend, that's not a problem. Don't feel bad about it because essentially, if you are trying to do it because you want your friends to pay you, they might not pay eventually, and eventually the business will crash. So first of all is to identify the kind of customers for the business you want to do. So I'm assuming that everybody here or everybody listening to me has an existing business, or if you don't have, you want to go into the business. So before you know that this is going to be a business for you, one thing you have to know, find out very clearly is number one, is it a serious need that people will pay for? Now, when I say it's a serious need, something that is a need to you, might not be a need to another person. I hope you understand. Something that is a need to you might not be a need to another person. So you have to identify those key questions. Is it a major need for me? I mean, for the people I'm trying to reach, because some people say that people want to buy shirts, so people want to buy belts. As a man, every man wants to buy belts. That's true, but the question is the people you are looking out for. How many people will buy belts that you can bank on it? So, for example, if only three people buy belts from you, and your profit is 500, 500 times 5 is 1,500. I've not made money. Essentially, what business is something you can do that you can remove your personal income from in terms of how much you can pay yourself and that has the capacity to grow to pay your bills later and also pay the bills of others. And when I say bills of others, I don't talk about your family. I'm talking about the people who might also be working for you. So before you say that this is something I want to put my energy into, you have to go on what they call a road test, business road test, to test the idea. Uh, and when I say test, it doesn't mean that you have to start asking questions. It might just mean that you start small. So instead of maybe you have 1 million rand to start a business, you can just decide to start it at a very small level so that you can minimize your risk. That by the time you fail there, you can know that okay, these are issues that I will face. Because the truth is, no matter the amount of analysis you do in your business, you will still face problems because it's always changing, it's always evolving. So number one I mentioned is that you have to know your customer and you have to know them not just based on assumption. You have to decide the kind of person you want to serve, the kind of business you want to serve. So if you have a B2B business, you have to decide the kind of business you want to serve. If you have a B2C business, a business to consumer, or I mean B2B2C, whatever kind of model you're running, you have to identify the kind of customers you want to sell. Serve and be very specific with it. Now, another thing you have to understand, because you're already moving to analysis, is that you have to identify your competition. And some of us think that business is like marriage. When you marry your wife, um, everybody talking to her, she will not listen to them. Well, it depends, anyways. If you don't have the kind of resources to take care of your wife, and some other guys are just young woman, you are beautiful. Let's take care of you. This is your husband. Let's take care of you. Let's take care of you. Before you know it, they will collect the woman. So it's the same thing with business too. Business is competitive, very competitive. And so you cannot say that I have this very brilliant idea and assume that because everybody is struggling for the same capital. And don't forget that in Nigeria, resources are very limited. So everybody is contending. And so you have to know your competition. I'm not saying go and I'm not saying go and do juju to not understand them. Know the people doing business in the same line with you. So there are two kinds of competition basically that I will speak on. There is the direct competition, there is the indirect competition. So I give you a basic example. So um, if you're into rice selling, um, the direct competition for you will be somebody also selling rice or selling foodstuff. You get, but because people buy things with money, what are those other things that people spend money on that might not make them buy what you're selling? So, for example, somebody can decide to, instead of eating, decide to spend money on data. So data becomes an indirect competition. And don't forget that if you think that data is not a competition, ask yourself, have there been times when you have not eaten, yet your phone does not lack data? Those times happen, right? So it means that there are certain things that that don't necessarily look as though they are competing with your business, but they are competing with the cash that it is in the hands of the customers. You get. So, for example, somebody says that I want to I want to buy Go TV in my house. I want to start watching something. Now that's a direct competition. We'll be looking at start times and the likes. But you know that an indirect competition in that sense might just be the some other things that they spend money on that makes them feel like, oh, this month I'm not going to do I'm not going to do subscription. I feel like I should just spend this money on these other things. So you must analyze those things. What are those things that can take money away from your customers that will not make them see your whatever you do as well? And another thing you must understand is you must be very factual with yourself. Is your business a primary need or a secondary need? Now, let me give you an example. During the COVID-19, they started separating business into, excuse me, into um, essential businesses and non-essential business. Now, if your business is non-essential, it means that people can do without it and be fine. So don't, business owners are sometimes too optimistic and they just feel like, oh, my business, nobody can do without it. There's really nothing anybody cannot do without. So you have to identify Is my business a non-essential business or an essential business? If it's an essential business, it means that the competition will be stiffer. If it's a non-essential business, it will have competition, but the competition will not be based on some other things like price, or it will be based on much more utility value like satisfaction, like excellence, like customer service and things like that. So you have to identify your competition. And your competition might just be based on where you are. If your business is offline, maybe you stay in a career and you want to start a small shop, you get your competition might just be somebody close to you. And then, but don't just think local. Think of the people who are not on your street who are also selling the same thing. Because what's important is that you capture the market. You capture the market. Business is about capturing a lot of value that you have enough money, to pay for you, to pay yourself and pay to employ people and also pay to innovate. If you keep doing business at the level of hustling, it will not become anything. It will only be able to cater for you. Even that is even if it caters for you anyways. That is why it is important to at least put a bit of structure to your business. Another thing you have to analyze is the market you're playing. Um, when I say market now, it's a general word. The market is there can be the broader market, there can be the secondary, the primary market. But depending on the kind of business you're trying to run, identify the kind of market you're trying to play in. What are those issues that are peculiar to the kind of market you are playing in? Your market constitutes both geography, constitutes the customers, also constitute the extraneous factors that influence whether your business will be successful or not. So you have to sit down. Now, all of these things I'm saying is not I'm not saying that you should sit down and answer these questions. No, because the truth is many of these answers will come to you in the process of doing. But what I'm admonishing is this: don't risk too much for learning. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Don't risk too much for learning because you are trying to say, I want to learn how this business is done. You now put all your money. Eventually, when it fails, you will put yourself in trouble. Don't risk too much for learning. Spend a bit, send minimal resources on learning. Experience is not the best teacher. Particularly in entrepreneurship, you will cry and you will not be happy. Many times learn from people. Mentorship is better. Mentorship is way better than experience because entrepreneurship can be very, very tiring. It can be lonely. It can be draining. And because of the kind of country that you are, the resources are not commensurate with the effort. So don't say that people always say this thing, school is a scam. Don't join that thing. If the reason you want to do business is that school is a scam, you're just wasting your time because you will find out that even though you do not take your school seriously, you will have to take your business seriously to be successful. So some of us have nonchalant attitude to school and say, that school thing is not serious, there's no they're teaching us. You will now carry that attitude to your work and assume that the business, I'm the CEO, anything can happen. Yes, anything will happen because the business will do you anyhow too. So you have to be very, very careful to not join the bandwagon of people saying something. And some people also say that follow your passion, follow your passion. Now, passion is important, but the truth is the skill required to turn passion to a profitable business, I can tell you it is not easy. And so you have to be factual with yourself. Don't risk too much to learn because you don't have all the life in you. If you're probably maybe, say for example, you are 20 now and you spend the next 5 years learning what it means to do entrepreneurship, that's a waste of life. Just if you can get, as a matter of fact, if you can, if you have a job that brings you money and you are using a part of that money to start a business, it's even fine because it helps you to at least be stable a bit. And if you don't have one too, just be rational. Don't be irrational. All the people, things that you listen to, jump into it, go for it, follow it, do it. Now, those things are good. But then, what is the pragmatic approach to making things happen? You understand what I'm trying to say? So you have to analyze that. And before I go, let me not forget to say this. You see, one thing that will make your business successful faster is mentorship. Now you might not understand what I'm trying to say, but the closer you get to some kinds of people in your life, the faster you will you will move because they will supply you with information that you yourself don't know. They will make certain things you have read in books clearer. they will prevent you from unnecessary errors. You understand what I'm trying to say? So as much as you are reading books, find a way to meet people. When you meet these people, don't be exuberant, don't be exorbitant, don't be because as a young person you have probably read Kiyosaki's book, you have read all these books, you have read this kind of books, you have read this person's book, and you feel like you know, you know, it doesn't work like that. He's just like a student doctor who just finished CCOE level and he's shouting at somebody who has been in practice for the last 10 years. Yeah, what are you talking about? Let me according to this theory, they are just talking theory. On the field of play, things are very, very different. So I've mentioned that you have to analyze your customers, analyze your competition, analyze your market. Now, one of those things you have to look at is analyze your pricing. Now, because we live in Africa, many people have low self-esteem. So people price their product based on their esteem. Ah, normally something. Ah, because you cannot pay it, you know, you assume that others cannot pay it. So that's why you have to really, really work on your psychology a lot because your customers can smell incompetence from a distance. Your customers can smell lack of confidence from a distance. So and don't uh, if you're selling a commodity product, you can compete on pricing. For example, you're selling rice. The price of those things are largely regulated around the world. So even if you want to put profit, you cannot be selling rice that somebody is selling for 350 and be selling it for 700. This is premium rice. We just look at are you okay? What is premium rice? If it's rice in Nigeria, you understand what I'm trying to say? Because it's a commodity market. That price is largely regulated. But if you're selling a service or a product that is not largely regulated, that is not commoditized, then you can begin to sell premium or whatever it is you want to sell. But analyze your pricing. And don't just say that, I buy from the market 20 naira. The market 10 naira, sorry. What you make here? You now calculate 10 naira over 1,000 pieces. That's about 100,000. In 3 days, I made 100,000. All those things are fictitious because it doesn't happen that way. More importantly, the price of the product is one, the price of every other input in terms of the price of transport, your price of data, and maybe you have receipt, the price of receipt must be factored into it. I always advise that if you are still starting out in business, make your margin wide a bit. You can be reducing over time. Make your margin wide a bit so that even though you don't have so many customers, that margin can still cater for certain things. Because the truth is, because of inflation, when your margin gets eroded, you will now want to increase your price. And if inflation is higher than the rate at which you can increase your price, you get to a point where, let's say for example, your product was 15 naira before. Now your margin on it was 10 naira. That means you everything you spent was 14 naira. Now things have now become expensive that will cause you to be selling it at 100 naira. You know that 100 naira times 50 naira is like 100 naira is like double of 50 naira. So contemplating that increase might be difficult. But if it was 70 or 80 naira before, if they have factored that in, it will be easy to transit from 80 naira to 100 naira. You know what I'm trying to say? So you have to analyze your pricing. Very, 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 very important. And another thing you have to do, you have to also analyze yourself because your business cannot grow beyond you. Can you undo stress? Because entrepreneurship is stressful. Can you undo stress? Can you live with the fact that you don't know where your next money is coming from? That thing can run some people mad. Can you live with that kind of thinking? Can you work with people? That's very important. If you cannot work with people, I mean, there's really no reason why you should go and start a business. Like I said, I'm talking as though I'm talking to people who want to do business, not people who want to do side hustle. Side hustle is not. I want to. Let me just be. I'll be selling this one on the side, and things like that. But the mindset to build something, the mindset to build something. Now, as you are planning those things, also plan your service delivery. Plan how you will deal with your customers, how you will make your customers happy, how you will retain customers. Plan your marketing. Now, some people just say, They ask you now, how are you going to market? Let me say, I'm going to market on social media. I say, what are you going to do? I'm going to be posting every day. I see posting every day is what brings business. You have to learn. You have to be open to learn. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask questions. Ask plenty questions. As you're listening to this video, I mean, if you're going to be watching this video later, I hope that after watching this video, you come back to Mr. Sampson and say that, Mr. Sampson, I will really have this kind of, because sometimes what we do is that you have watched the video, you think that you know everything that the person has said. You don't know. You have to go back to the person and say, oh, can you explain this better? Because it is in those conversations that you can get some other things that the person might have said but could not say because of time, or would have the opportunity or benefit of explaining certain things to you, you know, in a more clearer form. So I've mentioned that analyze your market, analyze your customers, analyze your pricing, analyze your analyze yourself, personally. And I don't push it that product wise would have yeah. I wish you're not you that's the same thing everybody saying. You get that same thing everybody saying, our product is the best, our product is the best, our product is the best. What distinguishes your product from everything? So I give you an example. So recently I was called upon by a fashion firm to come and help them with their sales. So they had this idea. They wanted to be selling online fashion. Just they want to be making bespoke, ready to wear for luxury, luxury. So they built a very nice website. Um, the clothes were ready, everything was on point. But when they called me, they said they're not making money. Ah, what's happened now? And they said, and I told them, I said, look, all this that people are doing, just I'm not ready for business. You are watching too much of Louis Vuitton, Timberland. Those things, this is Nigeria. Things are harsh here. And I told them, this thing you will do that will make the business work, that go and get vendors. And then be selling it on Instagram. And the person did not listen. So after like a few weeks, now calling me, I said, that vendor thing is working. I said, why will not work? He said, but people are going online. I said, I know people are going online, but they will not buy anything on your website. So I'm trying to say that you have to be very factual with yourself. Don't build castles in the air. I want to build a business like Maya Tafo. I want to be the next Jeff Bezos. Do you know that 20 years Jeff Bezos did not make profit? Sure you know that. Sure you know that you if if you don't bring money home, your wife will lock your shirt. You know. So, but somebody ran a business for 20 years. It was not profitable. But you know what I've taught him? It taught him innovation. It taught him persistence. It taught him commitment. And don't compare yourself with your best because he has a rich father. You understand that? So, before you start dreaming, you have to look at the other things that you have to think around and that will help you scale your business. So what I expect is that after listening to this video, put your business aside, scan through it, analyze your business. Who am I really serving? What is my product? Go. These products can it scale? What competition can come into the market that will erode my market share? What can happen that will make me lose business? What can happen that will make me lose money? You understand? Analyze your risk. Analyze your risk factor. Analyze your risk exposure. Analyze you yourself. What are the issues that you have? Are you the kind of person that when they pay you now, immediately something's already some people now, money is their motivation. Anytime money enters their account, something just tells them, it's been a long time you were Chicken Republic. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. You said you wanted to buy a new shoe. I think this is the money to buy the shoe. Are you that kind of person that you are very frivolous? You lack discipline in any sense of it? Analyze those things and carry out the issues that you found in your business. Take it to your mentor or take it to somebody you're looking up to. I expect that this class, after the IOC, that somebody will come and meet Mr. Sampson and say, Mr. Sampson, look, I think I need to take my business forward. I think I need to do these things better. I think I need to make these things better because that's the way to go. Analyze your customers, analyze your competition. Because and the thing is, you can also copy. There's nothing wrong with copying. Just copy intelligently. So you can copy what your customers are doing. You can copy what your competition is doing. Just make sure you are doing it right. Do you understand? And also make sure that it is not obvious that you are copying them. You know, in that sense. So you can copy, you can ask questions, analyze the market, analyze yourself, analyze the people around you, analyze the future of your business. Everything to say that, oh, I'm going to commit my life, my future. Because you're Nigerian, you're going to marry now. So you're not going to be telling your wife, don't worry, it's going to be better. I see us riding 5 cars. I want to, even if I can't ride 1 car today, at least I should be eating good food today. You understand that? So be very pragmatic with yourself. So that's it about business analysis. There's a whole lot to say because at a level of established business, we now talk about business analysis on a larger scale. But I'm talking at it from somebody who wants to start. How much money, or somebody who's already doing. Some people are already thinking, oh, um, analyze your cash flow, analyze your finance. You know, how much is coming in? How much am I spending? How much am I retaining in the business? How much am I plowing back into the business? Ṣé kàn know which then you get? How much am I making? Let's say your business is making 5,000 naira in a month. Be real with yourself. Can that 5K sustain you? What do you need to do? Do you need to scale? How do you need to scale? What do you need to do? I mean, somebody would, the moment you keep complaining to say, there's no money, capital no need. Yeah, everybody needs capital in this country. There's nobody you meet that will say that I don't need money. But the issue is somehow we find a way around it. I don't know how people do it, but everybody just needs to find a way because if you keep nagging and complaining, nothing will happen. You understand? Analyze the potential of your business, analyze the financial state of your business. What is wrong? Why are we not making money? Why are people not buying from us? Why don't we have enough money? Why are we not saving yet? And things like that, and launch yourself into the deep and try riskier things, push into new dimensions and ask tough questions about your business. And I honestly believe that as you do that and you're open to learn, you'll find yourself exposed to new truths that will shape how you see things. And don't be driven by what people say on social media. Some of those people on social media, the only business they have is social media. They don't have any real business. Don't be like them. Some people, they're always posting on social media 17 things to do a business owner. If you chat them up, so please, what kind of business are you? They are not doing any business. They just read a book. Don't listen to those people. Follow the people who are doing it because they're the only people who can show you. Anybody can read a medical textbook. Not everybody can become a doctor. We have to see. Everybody's calling themselves entrepreneur now. People who entrepreneur know themselves. The entrepreneur know themselves. The ones who are entrepreneur, they know themselves. The ones who are just entrepreneurs by circumstance, they also know themselves. The ones who are motivational speakers, who are covering themselves with entrepreneurship, they know themselves. Don't be like any of them. Have a business, have a product, have a core service that you offer. Talking it's supposed to be a secondary business. Don't say that I'm going to run a business on talking. How many persons have run a business on talking in this country are successful? How many of them? Forget about the big names that you know. If you go close to them, you know that they do something else more than talking. That's what I'm trying to say. So be real, analyze the potential what you are building, and I hope that you will scale from there. So if there are any questions you can ask me, I hope that I've been able to share a few perspectives with you that will help you. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. I can hear you
Okay,
clearly.
okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay, okay, okay. So I said that I hope that I've been able to share a few perspectives that will help. So if there are questions, you can just ask me, and I will try to provide answers. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, okay. I said if there are questions, you can just go ahead to ask.
Okay. Well, I majority of them are not here now to ask their questions. But what I would do is after uploading this video, by the time we are having the
Okay,
review,
sir.
we will put a place for them
Okay.
to ask questions on the Google form.
Okay.
So their questions,
Okay.
I will forward them to you.
Okay.
And so by the
Okay.
time you are giving us the response, I'll post the response in the group, in the WhatsApp group, so that everybody can
Okay,
have
sir.
access to the
Okay.
responses, so that it will be of benefit to
Okay,
everybody.
sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much for
Okay,
coming
sir.
tonight.
Okay, sir.
We
Okay.
are we are blessed with,
I'm grateful,
sincerely I
sir.
must confess, I am blessed to listen
I'm
to you.
grateful, sir.
I have done this,
I'm grateful, sir.
over and over again, and anytime I listen to you, it still seem I've not listened to you before. I thank you for coming
Eh,
tonight. God
Yeah.
bless you, sir.
I'm grateful, sir. I'm
Yes,
grateful, sir. All right, sir. Have a good night.
sir.